What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and who remembers LA gear? I had a pair, so did a ton of other people. They were the third largest shoe company in the world at one point because they were dope. And guess what? They're still around, but the shoes look like this these days, and it's quite a precipitous downfall for LA's homegrown shoe company. So what happened? Let's get into it. In the 1970s, Robert Greenberg, a hairdresser from Boston, moved out to Los Angeles to sell wigs and electric tweezers. After he saw the rise of the popularity of skating exemplified by the film Xanadu, he purchased a small store called Good Times to start renting out roller skates. But he was intrigued as most of his sales and the most promise came on the uppers of roller skates, so he decided to target the women's athletic shoe market with his next move. He knew he was going to launch a retail store and a fashion line, so he had a contest with his employees to rename the company. A saleswoman said that his shirts were real LA Gear, and he knew right away that he found the right name for the company. In 1985, LA Gear entered the women's athletic shoe market with the Canvas, which were wildly successful right off the bat. At that point, Greenberg's marketing genius took over, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do with the brand. He kept the shoes flashy, colorful. He launched ad campaigns that were colorful, that were fun, and they were targeted at the 80% of the retail market that didn't play basketball, tennis, or other sports. Signing celebrity endorsers like Heather Locklear, Belinda Carlisle, and Paula Abdul, suddenly LA Gear was everywhere and skyrocketed into third behind Nike and Reebok in athletic shoe sales. LA Gear's troubles first surfaced when they signed their first male endorser, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was a Hall of Fame Laker, but he was retired. Very questionable move. Things began to fall apart, literally, when the first college basketball team they outfitted, Marquette University, had a player whose shoes fell apart on a nationally televised game against Duke. LA Gear was starting to be considered something of a gimmick and a flash in the pan as they started to copycat other major retailers' big successes. They did have one last smash hit with LA Lights in the early 1990s, selling more than 5 million pairs a year. But trouble continued when they signed Michael Jackson to an endorsement deal upwards of $20 million a year that was supposed to coincide with his greatest hits released, but the album was never released, and shoe sales were a flop. In 1992, as the stock price and sales were plummeting, Greenberg left the company to start another shoe company, Skechers. Shortly thereafter, they sold the company to an investment group for $100 million, signaling the beginning of the end. A partnership with Walmart couldn't save the company, and by 1998, they declared bankruptcy. Since then, the company's tried to rebrand and make a comeback, including a deal with Tyga in 2015. But they've never been able to recover that late 80s, early 90s Los Angeles magic. All right, LA, it's been a minute.